Hi there, everyone. Thanks for logging on to Facebook and coming to our live. I'm Dia Bhojwani, and today I'm going to be having a chat with actress and advocate Tara Nisheri about mental health. Hi, Tara.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
Very well.
Especially in this pandemic. You sure you're okay?
Yes. Yeah, I'm fine.
Getting frustrated at home?
In between, yeah, very much. But now I think I'm just used to it, I think. Keeping busy.
It's our new normal, as they say.
Yeah, new normal.
We are here with Lit Kids. Lit Kids is a destination for kids to explore the world of literature, culture, art, and music, alongside celebrating their own creative expression through fun and challenging competitions. Lit Kids brings together a community of kids who are talented, smart, confident, opinionated, artistic, and achievers, and gives them a platform to learn from the best, showcase their skill, and compete with peers. Through YouTube, social media, blogs, podcasts, video newsletters, events like this one, over 1 million kids are regularly engaging on this platform. So we're super grateful to Lit Kids for letting us interact here today. So, as I said, I am here with Tara, who is an actress who starred in Mastram, Love Games, and most recently the acclaimed web series Disconnected. And she's extremely passionate about spreading awareness about mental health. We're going to discuss a lot of pertinent topics today: the Indian stigma around mental illness, how it affects kids and adolescents, and what we can do to foster change. Tara, we had a chat before this, and you asked me why I was so
Yes.
passionate about raising awareness. Now I throw that question back to you. Why are you so passionate about mental health and raising awareness about it?
I think because in my own life, it has, I myself till date, choose to speak to a therapist about anything that's going on with me, whether it's work related or my personal life or anything. And I feel it's been very, very beneficial to me personally in just living the best life that I possibly can. And I think that I have grown up in an environment where my family has been very, very open about feeling whatever emotion is going on at any given time, and not sort of quashing any emotion that has come up for me as an adolescent, as a teen, or even now. And I think that that's something that's very, very important, and I see the benefit of it in my own circle. Like, I can't talk about the world at large, but with the people that I know that the best people I know are the ones who have actually taken the time to process their emotions and their hardships in a safe and healthy manner. And they're literally using that to be of service to the people in their lives, and like even like you, like doing it on a larger scale. So I think that it's paramount. It's something that we really, really need to be very aware of and bring into our education systems as something that's mandatory, and something that is even mandatory for parents, because a lot of parents and a lot of people in India, if you say, oh, I'm going to a therapist, they'll be like, what's wrong? Something doesn't really have to be that wrong for you to want to talk to someone about what you're going through. Sometimes you don't want to talk to your friends or your parents, so I think that it's something that I believe that everyone should go to therapy. I believe that everyone should be given the opportunity to at least, especially when they're young and going through so many changes hormonally, speak to someone about what they're going through who isn't a parent or isn't a teacher and isn't a relative or a friend, just to give them a objective, completely non-judgmental sounding board, whether they have mental health issues or not. I think it should be something that is encouraged, and something that should be part of all educational institutions, or at least voluntarily available for kids you know, so it's wonderful that what you've done is wonderful for your school, in your school. Yeah, I think, it's really commendable, and I hope that other schools take a cue from yours and start having mental health classes as well, as part of their curriculum.
I hope so too. I think what you said about having a strong emotional base and the importance of that, I think that really resonated with me. I think that's so important, especially in the current context where you have so many kids just struggling in the current situation. A lot of my
Yeah.
friends, especially, because they don't have that basis
Yes.
of processing their emotions healthily. So in the current situation where everything's insane and it's difficult, the situation's difficult for anyone. If you don't have that emotional base, it's going to be twice as much a struggle for you.
Absolutely.
Did you ever feel compelled to keep quiet or a little uncomfortable about sharing your personal experience with therapy because of the Indian stigma around it?
No, not personally. Actually, that's not true. I think, yes, when I was younger, maybe I felt that, I don't want to, like, you don't want to really tell someone about issues that you may be having with your family members, or, some struggle that you're having with a best friend, or even your parent who you're very close to. You may feel like, oh, I'm betraying that person. But it's not really a betrayal at all. It's just a safe place to express and feel what you're going through, so that you can healthily interact with that situation or that person. And I think that somehow a lot of people feel that if you're talking to someone, like say you have a very, very difficult relationship with your parents growing up, and you express to them that you want to go and talk to someone about, just because you feel that you need that added support. And they might turn around to you and say, but why do you need to talk to a stranger? How can you talk to a stranger about your personal life? And I think that a lot of people have this, mental block in their minds that about therapy. And I think that it's very, very important to acknowledge the fact that it is a safe space. It is a space that is confidential. It's not a space where the therapist is not coming from a space of, I'm going to hear these people's stories and go and tell the whole world. It's their job. Their job is to help you deal with life, so that you're living your optimal life and being able to be happy and be your best self. And so, yes, I do think when I was younger, I did feel not scared to express myself as such, but I don't think till later, till maybe I was in my 20s, that I realized that it's okay for me to talk to someone else about my deepest pain or fears or whatever, without feeling like I'm betraying anyone who I may have mentioned while I'm speaking to my therapist. And I think that's something that I know other people go through it as well. Like sometimes I have friends who will be telling me something personal, and be like, I don't want to say this about my family, or I don't want to say this about my closest friend. But it's not really about that person. Even when you're feeling something, it's not about the outside world. It's about you inside. And the main thing is to help sort of, put your emotions in the washing machine and the laundry, and just wring them out in a way where you're not engaging in any self-harm or harm to others, which is very, very important. And which is why, again, I'll repeat, I think that encouraging kids and making mental health a part of our curriculum mandatorily is something that's very, very important today, because life is very, very stressful. And there are very, very few people who even I know and I've known growing up, or even now newer friends, who haven't been through some emotional ups and downs, or deep emotional turmoil in their childhood or teen years or early adulthood. So I think it's something that's very, very important.
I don't think I could have put that better about therapy. The emotional washing machine. Um, now I have that visual image stuck in my head. I can't get it out.
But isn't it? I mean, isn't it? I mean, isn't that what we should all be doing? Like just like washing it all out, and nobody's saying you have to be perfect. I mean, we're all a work in progress. No one. You can't go to like 3 sessions, of therapy and be the perfect human being. That's not possible. Life is going to throw so much at you. But you have to just be aware that when things are being thrown at you and when life is happening, just be aware that seeking help is not wrong. Seeking help from someone who isn't a friend or family member is not wrong, and it's something that can eventually really help you and give you a lot of peace for an extended period of time. That's not to say that you won't need help again. But there are people out there whose job it is to do this for people, with people. And isn't that wonderful that we live in a world where that's available? And I really hope that in India specifically, it stops being such a taboo, because everyone needs it. Everyone at some point in their life, if not at multiple points, needs to work things through with someone who isn't close to them,
So you have putting your emotions through the emotional washing machine and getting all that dirt out versus turning your shirt inside out to the clean inside while it's dirty inside like a stinky college boy. I think that's the difference there.
Like a stinky college boy? Oh no.
Stinky college boy. No offense to any college boys watching this video.
I was just thinking that.
So I was wondering, as someone with a position of influence with an audience, do you feel like you have a duty to speak up about this?
Yes, I do feel like anyone of influence has a duty to speak about causes and things that they themselves believe in. Having said that, I know that the choices that you make, like especially in my industry and profession, the choices that I make of characters that I want to portray on screen also make a big difference in influencing people. And I've been very lucky because my body of work, in my body of work, I've been able to play a lot of different types of women, and I've had a lot of women and young girls message me and really appreciate my director's visions of portraying women in a very real and respectable manner on screen. So I've been very lucky, and I think that for me personally, I think it's in my choices of work versus I'm not very active on social media, so you won't see me putting up a lot of things for a particular cause or anything. But I do believe in what someone like you is doing, like actually doing something within your own boundary, within your own circle. I think over this past year, the amount of conversations that I have had with my own friends and in my own circles about the importance of therapy and especially at this time where everyone is cooped up in the house together and talking things out and making sure that you're expressing your emotions in a healthy way. I mean, the amount of conversations that I've had just in these past 7-8 months regarding this is, I mean, I can't even count those conversations. I myself in the beginning, just before the lockdown, was searching for somebody to speak to, and found a wonderful therapist during this time who I have sessions with. And I think going back to what you said, I'm completely digressing, but going back to what you said, I think it's very, very important that everyone, whether they're in the public eye or not, if they believe in spreading awareness about mental health, they have to start at home with themselves first. You have to make sure that today we are very, very lucky as individuals that we're in the internet age. We can get online and read how to be there for our kids, for our spouses, for our boyfriends, girlfriends, family members, older family members, younger family members, neighbors. We have the resources out there to make sure that we are well equipped to deal with with people who either are showing signs of being distressed emotionally or mentally in any way, and with people in general, whether they're showing any signs or not, and dealing with our own emotional, distress and whatever it is that we are going through personally. So I think it is everyone's duty, especially at this time, to take personal responsibility and make sure that they themselves are going out there and reading and educating themselves about how they can get themselves help, as well as their kids, as well as their other family members and things like that. So I think it starts at home. So I wouldn't personally post something about like my personal life or my friends or something, but at the same time I do think that in any conversation there are few things that I really believe in, and I feel need more of I need to be out there more in conversations, and people need to be doing more. Mental health is one of them. Animal cruelty is one of them. And I think that these are the things that are very important to work on an individual level, as well as, because I am an actor, to bring it into either a part that I'm playing or like a conversation like this. So, yeah.
A lot of what you said about having a personal responsibility to raise your voice and actively make change at home at first, I feel like that's so important, especially, yeah. I think to a lot of teenagers who are going to be watching this and do want to facilitate change in their own circles, in their classes, in their school. But what can we do, from your perspective, to ensure that this change happens, to start a conversation about mental health and mental illness?
So, I was doing some reading, and I don't know if about mental health and kids, and what do kids do? Because sometimes you talk to your parents and they're like, all kids go through this. Or, you talk to a teacher and your teacher sort of can dismiss you. And, it's a bit difficult, I feel, especially in our country, to approach someone who is willing to take that step with you. Because as a kid, you do need that support from an adult. So I read something which was very, very helpful. And I wish that I had read this when I was, in school, but I don't even know if, there was so much out there, literature or anything about this at that time. But this was on the childmind.org, which is the Child Mind Institute. And this is an article that advises kids on how to broach a conversation with an adult. Now, as a kid, you do need that support. You do need the support of an adult to make a substantial change, whether it's in your household or whether it's in your school, whether it's in a particular, extracurricular activity class that you're doing, or wherever it is. You do need support from at least one adult. So they had a list of 6 things that you can do to start this conversation and make sure that you do get the help that you're seeking. And the first step is to know that there's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with being passionate about mental health, or or wanting to start something like you did. There's nothing wrong with that. Firstly, so kids need to understand that there's nothing wrong with that, as much as there's this stigma in our country. The second thing is actually bringing it up, having the courage and knowing that it's okay to bring it up, and choosing with the adult, whether it's your parent or a teacher or a counselor in your school or anyone, bringing it up with that person, or an aunt or an uncle, whoever, and then explaining to them how you're feeling. And if they're dismissive, then explaining to them that for you it's something that is really serious and something that you want to do because you're not feeling your best at that time, or because you really believe that it'll help your friends or help your environment, the environment that you're in. Fourthly, to tell them that you want help. that you need help with this, which is why you're approaching them. And then if you're dismissed by the adult that you've approached, then you need to try again at a time where either with the same adult or with another adult who you feel maybe more receptive to what you're saying. And the last thing is not to wait. The minute you feel that something needs to be done, or the minute you feel, like, oh, I'm feeling like more insecure or angry or upset than usual, and I feel like something's wrong, not to wait, to try and as soon as possible seek help, whether that's just for you individually or whether it's for a collective group of kids. So yeah, and I think that these are very doable steps for people. I know that it's really, really difficult, especially when you're a kid, to build up the courage to actually have this conversation with an adult. But having been a kid myself, I know that there's always that one adult in your life, whether it's your karate teacher or your art teacher or your auntie, your uncle, a cousin. There will be someone who's older than you, who you feel comfortable enough to speak to openly, who can help you seek the help that you need. But I would say that to keep trying until you get it, to not lose heart if you're dismissed, and to try till you get it, because the benefit of it is just tenfold, So yeah, I think that it's very, very important to take that first step and know that there's nothing wrong with asking for help and then going ahead and asking for it.
I feel like what you said was so useful and pertinent, because I've had my own struggles with mental health, and I've been lucky enough to have parents who are open and receptive to this, and I've been going to therapy for around 3 years now. But I have many friends, unfortunately, who've approached their parents and asked for help, because we're in a generation that's super cognizant about this issue, and we know when we need it.
Yes.
But they were completely shot down. But so much of what you said, I think, is so useful and will actually help teenagers to get what they need and get the help they need.
I mean, it's really sad to hear that, honestly, because it's sad to hear that parents out there and people out there are dismissive of other people's emotions. Because today, if someone comes to me and says they need help, and I turn around and say, don't worry, you'll be fine, it actually makes the situation worse. But all I can say to those kids is that to not lose heart. It doesn't matter whoever it is, eventually your parents are doing their best. They want to be there for you, and to try again, and if you get dismissed again by your parents, then to try with another adult, because getting help is really important. And there is help out there. There are people out there who want to help, and especially with kids, so yeah, I think children should try again if they need to, in situations where they've been shot down on their first attempt, because it's really, really important.
It's definitely something that's worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
You talked about having an extracurricular as a potential safe space. I was wondering whether performing arts and acting was that for you.
Yes. Oh my God, the amount of times that I have been able to work through something in my life through a particular part or a scene is amazing. And I honestly, when I realized that this is what I want to do in life, I never really thought of this aspect of acting. I never thought of this aspect of being in a field that is creative, because it does allow me to express any emotion in a very, very safe place without causing any damage to myself or anyone else, which is wonderful. It's a very, very healing profession. And I know that I don't know about other actors, but I personally do use it as a different kind of therapy,
I feel like creative fields have so much potential to help people, especially with issues of social justice. Like personally, I started a club at school called the Anvil Club. Because the tagline is where great ideas are forged. So we explore topics of social justice through drama and writing and poetry, and I feel like it's cathartic in a way, like you described, a different kind of therapy.
Yeah, it is totally cathartic. I mean, I think anything creative comes from the root of anything creative is an emotion or an intense emotion. And when you get to express that in any art form, it just frees up from inside you and it turns into something beautiful. And that's why today, all the art and movies and music that till date have an impact on people, the root of all that creativity, if you read about any of the history behind those things, is always a deep emotion or some kind of emotional experience that artist has had at some point in their lives, which is why it resonates with so many others. So you're absolutely right.
It's cathartic. It's a fantastic feeling. And you're so right about the best works of art, the most long lasting, are the ones that have sprung from a deep emotion.
Yes.
But while we're on the subject of school and adolescents in school and mental health, what do you feel like the responsibility of schools are to help children with their mental health? Because it is the space where we spend so much of our time.
Yes, I believe that, firstly, I believe that all schools should have a therapist or a counselor. I know that there are some schools that do have this, but a therapist or a counselor who is available to the kids to freely go and speak to whenever they have any troubles. I know that can be a bit like in school, you may not want to go to the school counselor, to talk about something that happened with a teacher or another student or your folks, or so that can be a little tricky. But I do think that there has to be some mandatory class where, like, you have PE, which is mandatory, physical exercise. You have to have a mental exercise, like a mental health class as well, which has to be equally important and mandatory. And I do think that it's very, very important for the schools because, parents should be doing this as well. But the schools, since many parents are not doing this, or I don't know if any parents are doing this, but giving the kids an opportunity or giving the kids information about where to seek mental help if they need it. Because today you may not want to talk to any adult who's in your life. You may want to directly contact someone yourself, in a safe way, with the supervision of an adult or with the approval of an adult. So I do think that people in schools should maybe try and affiliate with a group of other adults who are helping kids through therapy. Maybe, I know art therapy is very, very, it's again very cathartic and it's a wonderful thing. Maybe, schools can start having like art therapy classes to help kids, again with the opportunity to work further with that therapist if needed. But see, the thing is, whether you're an adult or a child, you know when you need that help. And it's the adults around us whose duty it is to make sure that the kids know that help is okay. It's okay to seek for that help and that help is available. So I think that it's very important for educational institutions to firstly make it available in the form of a therapist or a counselor who's on campus. And secondly, instill it in the curriculum so that kids know that there's nothing wrong with needing help, and to give them the opportunity to seek the kind of help that they feel like. Today, maybe a therapist works for you and me, but maybe a third person may want to do art therapy or music therapy. Maybe they don't want to do the conventional therapy session with someone. So adults around need to make that available to the kids, for them to know that art therapy exists, music therapy exists, regular therapy exists, psychotherapy exists, counseling exists, and it's okay to need all of them or any of them. But I think that it has to go hand in hand with the parents, because a kid in school, who's being taught, or who goes to the school counselor and then goes home and tells their parents, and their parents are, oh my God, like, why did you go to the counselor in school? Like, you should have spoken to us. But your kid didn't want to speak to you. They wanted to speak to a counselor. So nothing is wrong, and it's not wrong to ask for help. And the parents and the teachers and adults in general around kids have to be more open and aware and more and non-judgmental of children needing help and asking for help and making help available for kids. It's their duty. A child today, can't go online and sit and call a therapist. You have to have an adult involved. So I think it has to be parents and students. Maybe have a class that's for parents and kids as an educational institute, where the parents are also being educated about the importance of mental well-being for their children, so that they don't shoot their kids down when their kids come to them and say, Mom, I need to talk to someone.
I think that's a lovely idea.
I think that's very important. Like, the education has to be for the parents and the children, because the children will ask for the help. The parents have to be willing to get the help that their child needs,
Before we log off, I just wanted to ask whether you had a message to the teenagers and kids watching this video, sort of something spurring them to hope.
Yes, I do. I think the main thing is, I've been really, really lucky that I've grown up in a family that has allowed me to feel whatever I wanted to without labeling me, without saying don't cry like a girl and don't do this like a boy and things like that. I think that the message that I want to give all kids out there is, if you're feeling something, don't stop yourself. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to laugh, laugh. If you're feeling upset, if you're feeling angry, take a pillow and scream into it. Don't scream at other people. Write unsent letters. Express everything. If you like singing, sing loudly until all that anger comes out. If you like dancing, dance and sweat all that anger out. If you're feeling, if you're feeling insecure, do something that that you love doing and makes you feel proud and happy every time you do it. Even if that's as simple as making your bed, or I don't know, talking to your closest friend, or cooking, or whatever it is. Just don't suppress your emotions and be grateful for everything that you have whenever you're feeling stuck. Like, if you're feeling hopeless and stuck, just remember, okay, fine, I'm feeling really bad right now, but I have my laptop. I can go online and watch some funny video on YouTube, or I can listen to my favorite song, or I can talk to my friend, or I can go out for a walk with a mask on at this time. Be grateful in those moments that you're feeling stuck, because sometimes gratitude can also just make you go from feeling completely hopeless to feeling very, very hopeful and very, very positive. And just remember that feeling anything is not wrong. Even if it's the worst feeling, even if you feel ashamed for feeling that feeling, just remember that nobody can be judgmental or about anything that you're feeling. And there are safe, appropriate ways to express everything that you're feeling without engaging in any self-harm or harming anyone else or hurting anyone else or yourself. And yeah, just to know that it's okay to feel anything. I think that's something that people love telling you how you should feel, and don't feel like this and don't feel like that. And I think, yeah, just feel everything in a safe way.
Tara, I genuinely believe if you're not such a great actress, you should have been a counselor.
No.
Viable career path, I'm telling you.
Listen. It's not happening. I'm too old now. I'm just kidding.
You're not too old for anything.
I'm just kidding. I know. I believe that. I believe what you said. I don't think anyone's too old for anything, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You've said such inspiring things that I thought anyone watching this video will feel immediately compelled to vomit rainbows.
I hope so.
Me too. So I hope out there for anyone listening to this, to the world in general and to teenagers in general, there is hope and we have the capacity to make change. We have the capacity to make the world we want for the people we love and for ourselves. So you have to keep fighting for what you believe in. Bye, Tara. Thank you so much. And it was such a pleasure speaking to you.
Such a pleasure speaking to you too.
Bye. This was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.